Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and this week, like every week, we have a great variety for you guys, from Tudor to Hamilton to something you've probably never seen or heard of before, limited to 40, and we've got some great vintage options on the table as well from Mido. Some of you may recognize it, and Zenith. There really is a great selection today, and I can't wait to bring you the variety. But as always, if you want to skip my usual ramblings, head down to the description. You'll see a timestamp and a link for every single watch shown here today. With the timestamp, you can obviously skip to view that watch specifically. And with the website, you can head straight over there. You can see the prices, photos, and all the details. As I said last week, and I'm going to make sure I make it clear every single week, I do my best to get back to you as quick as possible. I can't even get my words out. As a lot of you are well aware, we have recently had our daughter, and it's an amazing experience, but also incredibly exhausting. So I do apologise if Saturday morning when the drop goes live, I'm a little bit busy. So do forgive me, but we try our best to answer all questions on the post and on the actual listing itself. So make sure you read through it. We've had a couple of occasions where people have missed out because I've not answered their question in time, and the question they asked was answered in the description. They clearly just didn't read it. So please do read through. We try our best to make sure all information is present. And if you have a watch you want to sell, head over to our website, kibbleWatches.co.uk. Click on the sell section, and on there you can fill out the form. We'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours, either with a purchase price, a consignment sort of basis, or we'll point you in the right direction if it's not for us. Now, we are going to be working on some more YouTube content over the next few weeks, so hopefully there'll be more videos than just the drop video every Saturday. As a minimum, this will always be the weekly video, unless obviously circumstances dictate otherwise, and in which case make sure you're following on Instagram at Kibble Watches, and we will make sure that's up to date, and we let you know if there's going to be no drop video, rather than you waiting around on a Saturday refreshing, which obviously I know all you guys and girls totally do. So keep an eye out for that. And the other content we have coming, there's some interesting bits, so hopefully you're going to enjoy it. And one of them is what's on my wrist. This is an Alimono, and the brand were kind enough to give us 2 watches to play around with, and I'm going to save all of the details for those reviews, which I'm going to be working on soon. But what I can say is this one is super cool. This is a retrograde minutes. I just think it's really, really awesome. And again, at the price point, it's definitely not cheap, but clearly it's not a cheap watch either. The mechanism that's used and the sort of complication is very interesting. But I'm looking forward to doing a very honest review of both of these watches, including their new diver, which is called the Shark, which looks fantastic. So yeah, keep an eye out for that in the next coming weeks to month, hopefully a little bit sooner, but we'll see. So now that we've got all the ramblings out of the way, let's get onto the watches, which is what you guys and girls are here to see. We're going to have to start with the one at the very top over here, the Tudor Harrods. Let's take a closer look. So starting this week's episode off with the Tudor Black Bay Harrods edition, which, as you can clearly see, features the Harrods green bezel, the green on the dial there, right where it states the depth, and the tip of the second hand in green, all contrasting beautifully with the gilt of the hands and the indices and the minute track and the logo, etc. It really works well on this watch. Now, obviously, for those of you who are aware of your vintage Rolex or Rolex models in general, you'll be well aware of the Kermit, of the Starbucks, as it's now called, with the modern one, with the green and the black, and it works really well. Obviously, the Hawk was the one that had the green and the green, so the green bezel, green dial, whereas this is more in tune with the original Kermit, in my opinion, than the new Starbucks even is, with the green and the black and the gold. It works so well. This is obviously in the full 41mm case as opposed to the new 58, and it's a watch that's not limited edition, it's limited production. There's a lot of rumours on how many, what the numbers on the back mean. The truth is there's not an actual verdict from anyone with what it's all referencing to, and how many were made and how many are going to be made. Every year it's rumoured it's going to be discontinued. As you can see, it's not discontinued yet. Could it be this year? It could. It could be next year. It could be next 10 years. We just don't know, to be honest. So I would avoid the speculation and just buy the watch because you like it. Luckily, and it will come as no surprise, we've priced it as one of the best in the UK by quite a mile, especially when you consider this one's from August 2022. So it's pretty much new. It does come with its full box and paperwork. It has been worn, but very lightly. And the reference to this one is the 79230G. And inside is the automatic Tudor caliber MT5602, their in-house movement. it's a great looking watch. I think if you're after a Tudor Black Bay full size but want something that little bit different, this is the one you should be looking at. But let's show it on wrist and torque dimension. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist. It wears really, really well. I actually quite like how the 41mm wears. Do I prefer the 58s in terms of the 38mm case? 100%, but this still wears really well at 41mm by 50mm lug to lug, 14mm thick and 22mm lugs at endless options. It's a really cool looking watch, so go check it out on the website today. Next up, let's move over to the Tudor Ranger, a really awesome looking watch. I think you guys and girls are going to like this one. Let's take a closer look. Next up, the Tudor Royal Date. Now, as you can see, this is the black dial with the classic applied Roman numerals, which really play with the light. It adds a depth to the dial, which I think is quite important because all you have is Tudor and Geneva on the dial, and obviously the shield logo. Absolutely nothing at 6. That seems to be the sort of either the pro to some people or the critique of the watch. You know, it's a bit too plain or it's really simple and beautiful. It depends on where you stand. It also features a sort of engine turned bezel. That's what I would say it is. I don't know if Tudor call it that. I'm sure they do, because that's what it's known as. And you've got this sort of Jubilee style bracelet. It's definitely inspired by the Datejust, of course. But it's almost done in a different way enough for Tudor to call it their own watch as opposed to just another Datejust lookalike. And I think it's nicely done. You've got a screw down crown, 100 meters of war resistance, a very nice deploying buckle, or just a normal buckle, which actually hides away very nicely. They've kept this part super thin, which means it almost blends into the wrist. I think they've done that very, very well. No exhibition case back, of course, as you'd expect. But anyway, the reference to this one is the 28500, and inside is the automatic Tudor caliber T601, which I believe is an ETA 2824 variant or a Celita of sorts. It's not one of their in-house movements, but again, very reliable. Very easy to maintain. And this one's from May 2022, just come with its full box and paperwork. And let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now this is 38mm, but I feel like it definitely wears more like a 39mm Explorer along that kind of line, but it's nicely done, that's for sure. 38mm by 45mm lug to lug, only 10.5mm thick, and 23mm lugs at the point of the case. That tapers down quite significantly towards the clasp. So again, it gives a very nice dressy look on the wrist, especially with when paired with that dial and the way it plays with the light. It's a nice looking watch. Go check it out on the website today. From there to a 2021 Breitling Avenger GMT with a polar white dial. This is actually a surprisingly wearable watch at 43mm. Let's take a closer look. Next up, a surprising Breitling. This is the Avenger GMT, as you can see, in 43mm. Now, we'll get onto the exact dimensions in a moment and talk about why this is actually incredibly impressive considering the size. Now, this is the reference 832397. It features that really gorgeous polar white dial with the pop of red with the GMT in the tip of the second hand. The indices are beautifully done as well, with the lume sort of surrounding and infilling the indices themselves. Very unique way of doing it. Do head over to the website. Danny has done some fantastic photos, including some macros, which really show how beautiful this dial is. And I think, I've always said, I think the Breitlings are fantastic. Value for money is incredible. However, there's usually something a bit lacking or something not quite there. This watch is pretty much perfect. The only thing I would say is the newer upgraded clasps with the glide adjust is far superior, but this still isn't a terrible clasp. It's still quite comfortable. You have got the adjustment on the inside, which is a little bit frustrating, but you can still get a nice comfortable fit. Very robust, solid screw link bracelet as well, and nicely polished and brushed surfaces which really play with the light, especially when compared against the polished tops and brushed sides, and opposite to what most brands do. And again, it gives this sort of shiny but not too shiny look, which I think is quite interesting. Inside this is the automatic Breitling caliber 32, and this watch is from October 2021 with its full box and paperwork, all of its links, and it is in very good condition. It's been worn, but very lightly. But let's show it on wrist and torque dimensions. And here we are on my 7-inch wrist. Now, yes, it definitely fills the wrist, and it is a big watch, but it is very comfortable considering how big the watch is. At 43mm by 52.5mm lug to lug, so it's over that 50mm sweet spot I always go on about. But if we look from the side, you can see the way this case curves. It actually hugs the wrist nicely, which most 50+ mil watches definitely don't. 12mm thick and 22mm lugs endless options if you're not a fan of the bracelet. So go check this one out on the website today. Next up, a Maurice de Moraes. I've probably absolutely butchered that. This is the Rallymaster, limited to 40 watches. This is the one I was saying you've probably never heard of and probably never seen before, and likely will never see again. So let's take a closer look at this. So next up, a watch you've probably never heard of, maybe never seen, and likely will never see again, and it's going to be polarizing. Yes, let's get it out of the way. Some of you are going to absolutely hate this, and you're going to be like, Kibble, why are you selling this? Well, we specialize in the unique and in the interesting and in the different. This ticks all of those boxes, and it is built incredibly well. It's still an incredible watch, and you'll realize that as we start to look closely. So this is a Maurice de Moraes. Forgive me, my pronunciations of brands is terrible in general, so I've probably butchered this. But this is the Rallymaster in collaboration with Racket, an incredible pink dial with a pink tennis ball that it comes with. You've got tennis balls for indices, you've got a net through the center, and you've got a spinning tennis ball on the end of the second hand. A very cool and unique looking watch. Date over there with the Cyclops. And as we flip it over, you can see the Racket logo and an exhibition case back with the automatic movement inside. Now that is a Landeron, believe it or not an ETA, not a Solita. That is a Landeron 24. So a movement you do not see often at all. And as I said, this is limited to 40 watches total worldwide. It has sold out. And I believe there may be one other one for sale in the world, but we are priced far better than that one, believe me. So this is from July 2022. It does come with its full box and paperwork, which is worth checking out on the website. And it comes with this elastic style strap, fantastic, super comfortable on the wrist, screw down crown. It is a very well made watch from a brand that do very interesting things and you do not see often on the pre-owned market. So if you're into this kind of thing, if you're into racket, if you're into your tennis, this may be a watch worth considering for yourself. But definitely head over to the website to read the description. But let's show it on wrist and toward dimension. And here we go on wrist. It is so comfortable and I actually really like the look. I'm not afraid of wearing pink. So 39mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick and 20mm lugs. So head over to the website and check it out today. From there, let's go over to some vintage watches on the table. Let's start with this. This is the Mido Multi-4 Power Wind. These are 1950s and 37.5mm, which is incredible. The case maker is a very famous case maker as well. I think you guys and girls are going to love this watch. It was a personal watch that I sold and the customer has since brought it back because he's gone for something else down the pipeline as well. So yeah, very excited to have it back. I'm resisting the urge to add it back to the personal collection. But let's take a closer look. So next up, Mido, a watch from the personal collection that I sold a little while ago and it has come back around because the customers bought something else, which is super cool. I love it when that happens. It's always sad though when it's a watch I absolutely love and regret selling, but I just not in a position to be adding another watch to the collection anytime soon. As you can see, a very nice looking case made by Francois Bourgel, and as we flip it over you might see that case back and go, oh, what's happened there? So let me tell you what's happened. So a lot of you know when there's new old stock watches or watches online from this sort of period and they've got the stickers on the back, you think, great, what a great thing. You know, it's got the sticker still on the back from the manufacturer. Well, sometimes it doesn't always go so well, and this is the case where it hasn't. That sticker and whatever adhesive they used originally has corroded part of the case back, which is a shame. So some of the, well, quite a bit of the emblem on the back you can't see anymore, and it has the markings as well from the corrosion. It's a shame, but again, these are the things that can happen when we keep watches in immaculate condition. Sometimes, especially back in the 50s, whatever glue they used to keep that on wasn't very good on steel for a long period of time, and they didn't expect people, I guess, to keep it on for that long. But really great case, really great profile as well, nice recessed Mido crown. And from reading online, I can't confirm this for definite, but it seems like this is the case. The hands and the indices are 18 karat white gold. It also has Mido written on the center of the crystal, really small, which is kind of amazing as well, and date over there. So this is the reference 1801. This is the automatic Mido caliber 917PC inside, and as I say, it's from circa 1950s, which when we get to the size, you're going to see why this is such an incredible watch for under £1,000 from this period. They're shot on wrist and taut dimension. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Oh, I haven't put this on since I've got it back. Wow, I miss it. I miss it. I used to wear it a fair bit. So 37.5mm by 45mm lug to lug only 11mm thick and 18mm lugs. Endless options on the strap, although I feel like we found the perfect match with this suede strap and the dial. It looks absolutely fantastic. Head over to the website and pick it up today. Sticking to vintage, let's go over to the Zenith Pilot Automatic with this really awesome sort of blue fume dial. I think you guys and girls are going to really like this one. I know a lot of people like my personal Defy. We had one in not that long ago and it sold very well. I think this will probably go quite quickly as well. Let's take a closer look. So the Zenith Pilot Automatic right here, really gorgeous and a very interesting dial. You know, that sort of fume blue. These kind of dials were often sort of reserved for the electronic watches of a similar period rather than the automatic, so it's very interesting to see one on this. Now this is very similar to my personal Zenith Defy from the same period, apart from this is far thinner and the bracelet is also thinner as well, making it a much more arguably comfortable fit on the wrist, which may come as a surprise considering I absolutely love my Defy. You've got a Zenith crown right there that is not screw down, as some of them are, but this is the 01-0020-382. Inside is the automatic Zenith caliber 2572 PC, and the watch is from circa 1972. As you can see, it's paired on its original Zenith bracelet with its Zenith clasp and its nice blue dial, which is quite difficult to capture. Hopefully you can see it right there. Really, really cool looking watch, and something that if you're after an integrated bracelet designed from the 70s, this ticks all the boxes and is super affordable, well under £1,000 for something like this from a brand that deserves so much respect, especially from this period. They show it on wrist and torque dimension. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. You can see multiple links would need to be taken out for it to fit me, and you've got all of the clasp adjustment as well. So nice big bracelet right there on wrist. Look at that, it looks perfect. This is 36.5mm by 40.5mm lug to lug, only 12mm thick, 27mm lugs from the case that taper right down to the clasp for a really comfortable and good looking fit. Check this one out on the website today. Next up, we've got some black watches on the table. Super interesting looking design. Let's start with the Boulder. This is the Singularity, as it's called. Really, really cool looking piece. I like the case back as well. I think it's super nice. Limited edition, sold out immediately if I'm not mistaken. So let's take a closer. So the all black watch, look at this. This is the Boulder Venture Singularity. And if I can capture the case back, it's very difficult because it's all black and obviously the light is very harsh in here with the big windows, so it makes it quite difficult to truly capture sometimes. There you go. Hopefully you can see that. You've got like a black hole right there, Singularity, which looks fantastic on the case back. Limited edition, as it states right there, and all black dial, no logo. I mean, what a cool looking watch, especially if you're after an all black watch. This really pushes that to the limits. So inside this is the automatic Seiko NH35A. This one's from September 2022 with its full box and papers, and as you can see, it's still stickered, and we're going to show it against the wrist to give you an idea of size, but let's have a look at that. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. You know what, this is a black watch, which I actually think looks kind of cool. I do struggle with all black watches, but this one, there's something about it. Maybe it's the fact the dial is that simple. It just feels very stealth. So 38mm by 44mm lug to lug, only 12.5mm thick and 20mm lugs. So if you want to throw it on a black strap, you certainly can, although it looks pretty damn good on the bracelet. Go check this one out on the website today. Now let's go over to the Hamilton Aviation Automatic Pioneer in aluminium with the black coating. Very cool watch. We've had multiple of these over the years. We've had a couple of the black ones, I believe. They've always done very well, so let's take a closer look. So the Hamilton Pioneer aluminium in black. As you guys and girls probably know, we've had multiple of these over the years in the different case colors, and this is the all black, which looks truly fantastic. Really nice inner rotating bezel, compressor style case. Something to keep in mind is these crowns always do feel very tight with the top one, and then with the bottom one far smoother. I think it's just the mechanism of which they're using for the internal bezel, but every single one has been like this just for reference. So the exact reference of this one is the HA04850, and inside is the automatic Hamilton caliber H10, which features their 70-hour power reserve. This one's from April 2022. It does come with its full box and papers and its original black Hamilton strap. Exhibition case back as well, showcasing the movement behind there, but a good looking watch. Let's show it on wrist and torque dimension. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist once again. Again, another stealthy, cool looking watch. If you're into the all black, watch. This is one to definitely consider, under £500. And it's 43mm by 46.5mm lug to lug, only 13mm thick and 22mm lugs. So you can switch and swap between different straps. If you've got a black rubber strap, that would look great on this as well. But you know what, on the NATO, it definitely suits. So go check out this really comfortable watch on the website today. Then over to a classic. We sold one not long ago, and we've got another one in. That is the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical 38mm, probably the most quintessential, affordable mechanical khaki field watch. That was a mouthful. I think this is awesome. Let's take a closer look. Here we go, the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical. We have had multiple of these over the years. I've owned them personally, both the black and the white. They're starting to release some new editions on bracelets and bronze, apparently, I heard about recently. They're doing a lot with this model, and rightfully so. It is a fantastic range based on true history and heritage with Hamilton. We've also owned the original military ones of this model. But this is the H694290, and this has the manually wound ETA 2801. So this predates the updated H10, or I believe it's called the H10, which is the 70-hour power reserve. This predates that model, so do keep that in mind. This is the standard 42 to 45-hour model. Still, you know, absolutely perfect, but again, just keep that in mind. This one's from December 2018 with its full box and papers paired on its original Hamilton NATO strap, which is a fantastic NATO strap, and I believe I actually have another one from when I owned one of these watches. I bought a spare one because I thought it was such a good 20mm NATO that I'll throw it on other stuff when I do eventually wear NATOs. You know, nice manually wound movement, a good looking case, everything you could possibly want in this kind of watch and this kind of style. But let's show it on wrist and taut dimension. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, super good looking watch, and the dimensions are perfect. 38mm by 47mm lug to lug, only 9.5mm thick, that's excluding the NATO strap, and 20mm lugs, so endless options for a good looking khaki field mechanical, which is well under £300. I mean, you really can't go wrong getting a mechanical Swiss made watch at this kind of price. Now on to a Fave Luba. This is a really cool quartz watch from the 80s with its box and paperwork. I seem to be having all the brands that I can't pronounce the names of today when my brain isn't working. But let's take a closer look at this one. So this is an interesting one, as it comes with its box and papers, the Fave Luba Quartz in two-tone with its original bracelet, as you can see, which is also in two-tone and looks fantastic. Yes, it's quartz, but it's a good looking quartz, and one you can happily wear, get this kind of design with, and enjoy without worrying. So the reference to this one is the 5900-53. Inside is a quartz ESA 555.421, and this one's from circa 1980s, as I said, with its box and paperwork, which makes it very special really for this kind of time period. But again, just a good looking watch, very affordable, and a very nice bracelet. But let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go, fitted to my 7-inch wrist. That is a good looking watch, especially when you see the price. So this is 34.5mm by 34mm lug to lug, only 7mm thick, so super thin against the wrist, and 18mm lugs if you want to switch this out. What I will say, if you want to switch out the bracelet, is you need a very thin strap to fit against the case comfortably without rubbing and ruining the strap. However, I'd say just keep it on the bracelet. It can be adjusted to your wrist size nice and comfortably. So go check this out on the website today. And last but certainly not least, a 1982 Seiko SQ Quartz, a very interesting looking piece. Let's take a closer look at this one. So last is the Seiko Quartz in near new old stock condition. Now this is a very interesting looking watch because you've got a normal round case, or at least so you thought, and then you see these flanks. It's almost like the porthole sort of shape that you have with the AP and the Patek. Very interesting design and something quite different. You've got the printed Roman numerals, maybe you could call it a booklet, but hey, day date over there, stickers still on the back, and the whole thing is in incredible condition. It's clearly just been stored away for many years. So this is the reference 6923-7010. That means beating away inside is the Seiko Quartz caliber 6923, and this one's from circa July 1982. And as you can see, it comes in fantastic condition. It would look great on a leather strap as well if you want to swap it out, maybe a brown leather in my opinion. But on the bracelet, it looks pretty good and it is comfortable as well. Quite a unique bracelet with the polish through the center. Let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. So here we go on my 7-inch wrist. You can see a huge amount of space, so it's a full bracelet. And if you've got a big wrist, you'll be completely fine. But there we go, ticking away. This is 34mm by 39mm lug to lug, only 8.5mm thick and 18mm lug. So as I say, endless options on straps. And this is just a good looking, affordable watch to enjoy. So go check it out on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is this week's drop. Something for everyone at all price points, from £150 all the way up to over £3,000 in this week. Next week we've got some heavy hitters, if they're still going to be around, including a Reverso Night Day, a Submariner 40mm discontinued date, soon for everyone again. So we look forward to bringing you that. But in the meantime, enjoy this drop, head over to the website, check them all out, make your purchases, and we'll get them shipped out to you and on your wrist next working day if you're in the UK. If you're overseas, we use DHL Express and it can take a couple of days. And be aware of VAT and taxes. Make sure you do your due diligence before purchasing. But yes, thank you all very much. We'll see you all again next time.